Hi, my name's Derek, and welcome to the Plus Platoon. The Plus Platoon, where it's a Disney fan podcast. We love talking weekly about Disney movies and shows. Give honest reviews about content on Disney Plus. We'll give you the good, the bad, and some of the ugly. We've got teachers, we've got engineers, we've got former cast members, and we love interacting with you. So please give us your opinion on what you see and what you thought of the stuff we're talking about. So I would like to help introduce the Plus Platoon. I would like to welcome Kate to the stream. Hi, Kate. How are you this evening?
Oh, I'm so good. How are you, Derek?
Doing very, very well. So, Kate, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So my name is Kate. I know my favorite Disney character. I actually don't have a favorite. My favorite are any sidekicks. I love the sidekicks. So they are everything for me. When I watch Disney Plus, I'm a big documentary person. So think the engineering story, prop culture, On Point, any of those documentary style shows I love. And a little bit about me, I, for the last 10 years, have been a cast member at Walt Disney World as a performer. So
Cool.
Recently was laid off, but you know what? I still love Disney and hopefully we'll be back someday. So that's me.
Sounds good. And now let's bring in Sam.
Hello.
Hey, Sam, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here tonight to talk about Disney Plus, one of my favorite things Disney.
Yeah, gonna be a lot of fun. So, Sam, what should we know about Sam?
Well, my favorite character is a special Disney princess. And when I say special, she's not a traditional one. She is Vanellope von Schweetz. So that's my favorite Disney character from Wreck-It Ralph. And so she, like I said, not a traditional princess. I love on Disney Plus, I love all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe content. Huge fan of all the movies, big fan of WandaVision, and really excited about some of the new content coming out real soon. And then something to know about me is I am a Disney podcaster. My husband and I have a podcast that is focused on Disney Cruise Line, and we're the DCL duo. I also love all of the, I'll call it golden age of Disney movies like Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Lion King. Okay. So I'm here for all the great new and old content.
Yeah, and we'll maybe even get into some older stuff than Little Mermaid.
Oh, sure.
So, okay, let's bring in the fourth member of our group. Let's bring in Rebecca. Rebecca, how are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing very, very well. Rebecca, who's your favorite Disney character?
Hands down, without a doubt, anyone you ask will know that my favorite character is Rapunzel. Okay. I idolized her for so long. When I think about Disney Plus shows and movies that I really click to, it's going to be all of my Disney Channel stuff. So Hannah Montana, Wizards of Waverly Place, The Sweet Life, On Deck and at the Hotel, and then movies like Lemonade Mouth, Camp Rock, High School Musical. All of those really are ones that I grew up watching, and so I have to watch them now. Another thing to note about me is, like Kate, I was a cast member for about almost 2 years, and now live in the area and hopefully getting the opportunity to go back anytime soon. So
good luck with that.
Thanks.
And last but certainly not least to the Plus Platoon, let's welcome in from the Disney Newscast and other shows, Peter. Pete, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing really well. Wow. So I'm sitting here thinking everybody else is listing their favorite characters, and I don't know, but you know, I was a big fan of Luke Skywalker growing up. So am I allowed to pick him?
Yeah,
he's a Disney character now. Yeah. So, I'm going to pick Luke Skywalker. I'm a engineer, chemical engineer, which is kind of boring. So I won't talk too much about that, but I've been a Disney fan pretty much my whole life. And when Disney bought Marvel and Lucasfilm, they pretty much bought my childhood. So I was destined to be a day one subscriber to Disney Plus. And I love talking Disney movies and Marvel movies and Star Wars movies. So this is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it will. Well, my favorite Disney character, if you couldn't tell, is one of the OG Fab Five. It is Donald Duck. Not that I have his temper, but I love watching people go off. Disney Plus, I'm along with Kate. I like a lot of the documentaries, but I like a lot of the actual old cartoons. Peter Pan, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, the original Fantasia, all of the old Disney movies. And I will tell you guys, everything's going to get covered on here. I do need to emphasize one thing right out of the gate. We are a spoiler-filled show. Okay.
Yes.
If you have not seen WandaVision yet this week, go watch it, then come back and watch our show. Okay. Because we will be talking about the entire show. Okay. By the end of the night, you will know what happened. Okay. So next, Kate. There's been some Disney news coming up this week. What can you tell us?
Yes. Well, the big thing that happened this past week was WandaVision, which we are going to dig into. Don't worry. But coming out on Friday, we have Marvel Assembled, which is a behind-the-scenes look at WandaVision. I personally cannot wait for it because, again, I love documentary-style things. So I'm super excited for that. We also have another show that I'm super pumped for called Own the Room. And it's all about students overcoming obstacles and trying to get their ideas funded. It's going to be so good. Make sure you tune into that. Also, on March 19th, for all you Marvel fans out there, we have Falcon and Winter Soldier coming out. Now, if you are a little bit behind the times and you're like, I don't even remember who that is anymore, it's been so long, don't worry. There is this wonderful thing called, Legends. I was like, I knew I have it. Legends. It's like 7 to 8 minutes on every character that comes out. So Winter Soldier, Falcon, and I believe that Wanda and Vision also have theirs out. So if you need a little bit of a refresher on who's who, how they got there, don't worry. Go check out Legends. You will not regret it. And that is it for Disney News.
Great. I mean, I'm going to have to hit up the Disney Legends stuff because I haven't seen those movies in years. So I'm going to have to get a big refresher. Let's see who's coming in and joining us tonight. We've got Sandy here. Hi, Sandy.
Sandy.
We've got Willie here. Waited so long for Falcon Soldier and Bucky to arrive. Yep. Okay. Can't wait on that one. So, yeah. But the big thing this week is WandaVision. Okay. For those of you who may not quite remember what's going on WandaVision, Wanda, at the end of the last episode, Agatha had the kids captured and Wanda was there getting ready to throw magic balls at her. That's where the new episode picks up. Okay. And long story short, which I know too late, Wanda and Agatha have a battle, and while they're doing that, Agatha, as you may know, has sucks up power from all the witches that can't use their power correctly. Well, she starts sucking all that power in from Wanda, and she's sucking the power in from Wanda, and then she goes to use it, and Wanda has put runes around the town. And if you'll remember, if the witch that cast the runes is the only one who can use her spell. So she's been faking being weak to Agnes the entire time. And she embraces her Scarlet Witch. Okay. Meanwhile, we've got White Vision and Vision. Okay. And in talking with one of our crew members, Miss Rebecca down there predicted when we were talking earlier that Vision and Vision would fight. Okay. But then they get into what's known as the ship of Prometheus riddle. Which is if you have an original ship, Theseus, sorry. Yeah. Both Greek gods. It's close. But if you have a ship and you eventually have to replace one board because it's rotting and eventually you've replaced the entire ship, is that still the original ship, or is all the wood you took out the original ship? And they basically come to the conclusion that they're both the original ships, and the Westview Vision activates all the memories in White Vision. and he becomes non-controlled by Sword anymore. Okay, and he takes off through the roof, and we don't know where he goes. And Wanda imprisons Agatha in the town, sends her back to her Agnes character, and then shuts down her Westview. Okay. She puts the kids to bed. The kids say, Mom, she tells the boys, thank you for choosing me to be your mom. Every parent cried. Then she and Vision go say goodbye to each other, and they say, well, we will say hello again. And he disappears. She embraces her Scarlet Witch. Yeah, cry. Yeah, sob. I may or may not have ugly cried at that. But and then we've got there were 2 end credit scenes. In one, Wanda is sitting in a cabin, but she's projecting, reading the book that has all of the information about her, the chapter about the Scarlet Witch in it. Okay. In the other one, Monica, who we now know has powers, okay, gets approached and basically says that is it Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson character?
Well, it's one of the scrolls from.
Well, yeah, but says that she's
Marvel
being paged up to the space station.
Yeah, they don't say Nick Fury's name, but they say he wants. They say he wants to see you.
Yeah,
and so we all assume.
Yeah, so that was WandaVision. Okay. Yeah, and Ryan says he about lost his mind at the finale. Definitely, yeah. But so as we go through things here on the show, we're going to hit it in 4 areas. And the first area that we're going to talk about WandaVision is the story. Okay. Lots in that. There were lots in the episode. Kate, what were your thoughts?
Oh my gosh. I thought it was beautiful. Granted, the whole series, I love the metaphor of how it came from Wanda's grief, that was how she protected herself. And so to have her in this, oh my gosh, when she was putting the boys to bed, hello, are you kidding me? Just ugly tears. And saying goodbye to Vision, knowing that was the choice that she had to make, knowing full well that she could have kept it all up and stayed in that life, I guess, in that vision, if you will. Sorry. I just thought it was so beautiful. I'm very intrigued to see where they take it. I'm sure we're going to see Vision again. So Vision is one of my favorite characters. That's my cat. It's fine. But it's, yeah, I loved it. I loved it personally.
Sam, you're muted.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Definitely.
All right. I loved it as well. I thought the series in general was really wonderful. I will say some highlights for me were the Vision versus Vision fight, of course, and of course those emotional tugging heartstrings at the end of the episode. I think that Kathryn Hahn is the breakout star of the series as Agatha Harkness. My only criticism is that she became a little bit too much of the quintessential Disney villain without any depth to her character, because we know her background about stealing power from these other witches, but we don't know why she became who she is today. And I'm hoping that that's the reason we haven't found that out, is because that's to be continued in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that she's going to continue to be a character. So that's I'm crossing my fingers that happens, because I think that was my only letdown from the series, as well as a little bit of a letdown that the boys disappeared at the end. I'm hopeful, because we heard their voices at the very end, that they will return as well. But those were sort of the I would say the 2 disappointments that I personally had. The other things I would say, though, just one more thing I will say is another breakout star from the series, Randall Park as Jimmy Woo. Give me more Jimmy Woo. Yeah. I'm hoping that he's going to be a more prominent character going forward. What did you think, Rebecca?
So yeah, very proud that I called the Vision the Vision. I also noted that I thought that the kids would disappear, because I was like, well, they're only created in this world. Like, they were born in Westview, so they have to go away when Westview goes away. The third thing that I had called which I didn't happen the way that I was expecting it to, but I'm also glad that it still happened, was I think White Vision is now Vision alive. He zoomed out. I'm assuming that was their way of like, okay, but now his character is back. He's just pale. So I'm very excited for that to continue as well. I thought the whole story was wonderful. I think my biggest letdown was probably that there wasn't a definite, we're now going into Doctor Strange. I wanted him to show up at some point, just for that actual, okay, now we know for sure, like, just to get more excited about it. But other than that, I thought everything was great. It was perfect.
Okay. Pete, what'd you think?
So I'm going to be the slight dissenter. I really enjoyed the series a lot more than I thought I was going to. Honestly, the first 2 episodes, I was kind of lukewarm on it. Really warmed up to it as it went on. But honestly, the last 2 episodes disappointed me a little, not because of the main Wanda and Vision plots, which I thought were great. I totally agree with Kate. I loved how they told the story of someone grieving through that process if they were, had these superpowers. But I was really disappointed because I really loved Monica and Darcy and, as you mentioned, Jimmy Woo. And the last 2 episodes, they were basically shoved to the side. I mean, Monica showed up a little bit. Darcy showed up for about 10 seconds and rammed her car into the bad guy, the I forget his name, Hawkins. Yeah, whatever. Hayward, that's
Hayward,
it. And Jimmy Woo, I guess, did a little bit, and he called the FBI, but like it really sidelined those 3 characters, and that kind of disappointed me because those were my favorite characters throughout the series. I mean, I like Wanda and Vision well enough, but I kind of knew where their story was going to a degree, and these other 2 characters, I mean, they gave Monica these superpowers, and then she used it to stop some bullets that were aimed at some kids that also had superpowers that could stop bullets. So, she really didn't do much. And, I'm glad that they're going to continue her story as well, because as I said, I really liked that character. Darcy was a lot of fun, and then she just kind of, they left her at the crossroads there 2 episodes ago. So I probably am not going to give it like an A+ or something like that because of that. I thought that, again, the Wanda and Vision stories were great, but to me, you kind of let me down by sidelining those other characters. And yeah, and even as you say, Agatha, her motivation other than I want power was maybe a little bit disappointing, but I thought there was enough of her that I was okay with it. And Catherine Hahn was fantastic in the role. And boy, let's give some credit to Elizabeth Olsen because she was amazing in this series. Her acting, having to go through all those levels of grief and play a super powered being and everything. And, I would hope that she gets like an Emmy nomination or something out of this because she was so good.
Yeah.
Definitely. To me, I had 2 main criticisms. One, the last episode should have been 2 episodes. It felt incredibly rushed to me because, as you said, Pete, they could have expanded so much more. And it's just one of those, we have 9 episodes and we still have all this story to tell. And we have to wrap up all these things before Captain Marvel 2 and the Doctor Strange movie. So here's how it's going to end. And my other thing is, who's the bad guy? Is the bad guy Wanda? Is the bad guy Agatha? Is the bad guy some little, some puppet master out there? Because yes, it set up Wanda because, explained how she did this all through the grief and how she was sorry. But she's not supposed to be reading that book.
Mhm.
And she has the prophecy for her. She will destroy the world and defeat Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
That's the prophecy.
Mhm.
So if that's where this is leading, how is she the heroine?
She's an anti-hero. That's who she is. She's not a villain. She's not a pure hero either, though, right? Because she's got this darkness. She controlled all these people's minds. She, made them have these terrible nightmares that she was having because of her grief. But she's an anti-hero because she didn't do it with bad motivation. And then when she ultimately realized what she was doing, she sacrificed her own family, right? She sacrificed her sons and her husband to set these people free eventually once she had full realization of what was happening. So she's an anti-hero. She's not a villain. She's not quite hero.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think the one parallel that I had made was when she did the runes in the city on Agnes, she had said that was learned from her, right? So a couple episodes beforehand, Agnes had told her how to do this and that she just has so much to learn and she has so much to grow and to figure out how to use it. She has no idea what she's capable of. And so she did that in that final episode. And then in the end credits scene, she's now learning. She's doing her research on what she is and what she is capable of. And if this was all because of the grief of her husband, well, now it's Vision and the kids and this whole life that she's created. So what is going to happen? What is she going to create now? And I think that's how she becomes the villain in the next whatever.
Yeah, because that book is, they called it the Darkhold, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Darkhold showed up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't remember what season, kind of in the middle, fourth or fifth season. And it was somewhat different there, but it was a bad thing. And throughout, I heard also it was in the Runaways series, which was on Hulu or something? I don't know. There was another Marvel series.
I think maybe
no, Runaways wasn't on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to see it, but because I think it's actually on Disney Plus now. But anyways, the Runaways, it was on that too, but I don't know the story behind it. But it's typically considered in Marvel something that's evil. So
Right.
the fact that she's using it to learn is maybe bad portends badly for her future. Yeah.
Maybe she'll use it to save the world, though. That could be the twist, right? She could use the sort of the evil power book for good. Yeah. We'll see.
Coming to some of the comments here, Ryan says, big Jimmy Woo fan, definitely want more Jimmy. Totally agree. Vicky says, agree, like they had not rushed the last episode. It was still the longest, but it's just one of those, okay, what else could they have expanded on? And Jess also says, completely agree. Spent so much time building up to the end and then completely rushed through it. So the next section, the next way we're going to look at the shows we're talking about here in WandaVision is the acting, the actors themselves. I personally had no complaints with the acting. These are A-list Hollywood stars. It was, to me, it was a 9-part movie. So as far as the acting, I don't know I loved the fact that, I don't remember his name, but the guy who played Vision had made a spoiler. So looking forward to working with the best actor I've ever known and my favorite actor. And it was himself.
Yeah. Paul Bettany.
So, yeah. Just the level of trolling there was amazing.
Yeah.
I just loved it. Was all so good. And they're the subtleties, especially from Elizabeth Olsen, thinking back to, I think it was either the second or third episode, when the guy comes out of the grate and she just looks and she just says, no. And just she was brilliant. Peter, you nailed it. But even all of the smaller characters, the 2 little boys, her sons, all of the acting, the subtleties in it, it wasn't over the top, which sometimes superhero movies can be. There were so many subtleties that were so brilliant. So what about you, Sam? What do you think?
I totally agree. I think we saw some really outstanding characters from Monica as the new Captain Marvel, who we're gonna hopefully see a lot more of in the future. I love Daphne's character. I love, as sort of Peter said, Daphne and Jimmy are just sort of they're kind of sidekick characters from previous movies, from Ant-Man and from Thor, and now they're getting a more prominent role. They're not quite leads yet, but we're hoping that they'll sort of move in that direction, maybe sort of a little bit more involved supporting actors and actresses. I just think some really standout performances. I really want to sort of comment, though, to a sort of a shout out to Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen for their comedic timing. And the first several episodes had a lot of all these nods to, the Dick Van Dyke Show, Mary Tyler Moore, I Love Lucy, the Brady Bunch, and all of these sitcoms that had a wonderful chemistry and comedic timing. And I thought they did a great job. Paul Bettany's still way too old for Elizabeth Olsen. But other than that, they were wonderful and had great on-screen chemistry.
Yeah, and as Fran says, he can play Vision for the rest of time, and he'll be happy. At the rate he's going, he probably will.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I was going to agree with Sam that I think the level of acting between the different decades as they moved through the episodes was spot on. To me, it kind of enhanced the show and made me want to watch it more, because I'm way too young to watch Dick Van Dyke, I Love Lucy, those types of things. But because of how the acting was with WandaVision and with Elizabeth and wow,
Paul.
you just said I couldn't determine between Paul or Pat, but and yeah, it makes me want to kind of go look into that and see what it's all about. So loved it.
It's a great comment that everybody had to play comedy as well as drama as well as action. Action's probably the easiest, right? To just go, but I think, going from comedy to drama and back and forth like that, it really, I can't disagree with anything like that. And I think Jimmy Woo should become the new Phil Coulson and just be in every single Marvel movie.
I love that.
Yeah. Vicky said, the acting, 100. Gina says, thought everyone brought a movie level performance. And agreed all the actors were fantastic. Yeah, and they're going to roll the actors rolled right into filming the Doctor Strange movie and Captain Marvel. So, next thing we're going to talk about cinematography, special effects. Again, my opinion, it was a movie. I think that some of the lighting, if I'm going to get real picky, some of the lighting was too uniform almost. I would have done a little bit more. It was either daytime or they were inside for the most part, except for the Halloween show. And I would have liked to see it happen a little bit more across time, see more of the evenings outside in Westview, but that's about my only criticism. The CGI was amazing, and a lot of times it blended really well. So Kate, thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant, beautiful. The use of colors and even going all the way back to the first episodes and how true they stayed. Sam was saying how true they stayed to Dick Van Dyke and then the Brady Bunch and not Leave It to Beaver. How they used that muted tones, and then all of a sudden she picked up the red helicopter. And just it was so nostalgic for me. I know Rebecca was like, I was too young, I don't remember. It was very nostalgic for me. But I also just so appreciated that there were so many Easter eggs of nods to other Marvel movies, Marvel shows. Even when Wanda fell and she did that Marvel pose, the one where they're squatting and their hands down and they're it was just.
And Monica pulled that same pose too.
Yes.
The moment she got her powers, that's the pose she pulled.
Yes. So, and my favorite nod was when oh my gosh, it was Vision and the girl, Darcy, was that her name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When they were in the truck and he was kind of saying, well, what's happening? And she was like filling him in. And it was a total nod to Ant-Man when Ant-Man's in. And like, it was so good. So I loved it. I loved the whole thing. I just thought it was great.
I want to add to, I totally agree with Kate on everything she said about the cinematography and the visual effects, all of it. One thing I would add is the use of the color red and how prominent it was across the entire series. I thought it was visually stunning, from the helicopter to her red costume with her little
Crown,
head crown thing at the end when she's the Scarlet Witch. And then of course even the walls of Westview are red, and it's, she's shooting up this red force, and even her power in her hands. And we know this back from even the movies, it's always balls of red that she shoots out, as opposed to Catherine Hahn's character, Agatha Harkness, with the purple in the series. So I love the use of color. I will say one technical criticism was that sometimes the sound was a little bit off, as far as the voices weren't loud enough in this talking, but the special effects were very loud. So I was constantly having to adjust the remote with the just the sound level. So that would be my only criticism from a technical standpoint. Rebecca, how did you feel about all these technical details in the series?
Well, the biggest thing that I think I noticed was, again, color, but more of like the saturation levels of the color that they had. So inside the Hex and Westview, it was very bright, kind of like we said. Everything was outside, and the sun was always shining, and it was beautiful and gorgeous, and all these colors are so prominent. And then outside of the Hex, it was very gray and muted and kind of ugly and deserted and nasty and stuff. And so I think that was probably the one thing that I had noticed a lot. Other than that, there wasn't really anything technically that I thought was bad. Like we said, movie quality for this whole thing. So that's what I have to go with too.
Yeah, I think one of the neatest things I thought, and Kate kind of touched on it with the black and white episodes, but even like the Brady Bunch episodes, if you look at the way it was filmed, it had that like grainy 70s quality to the film itself.
The broadcast.
So it actually looked like it was a broadcast of a show from the 70s, and they kind of did the same thing with the 80s one, where it really felt like it was something that came out in the 80s. You didn't notice as much with the later ones, but again, more modern is almost cinema quality anyways. So I think generally there was a few times I thought the special effects were a little bit hinky, but for the most part, you can't really complain about the quality. They really did a nice job of shooting the show and using a lot of the tropes of the various comedies. I kind of wanted a little more. Why was she broadcast? That's the one question. This is getting back to plot though. Why was she broadcasting it? Like, I understand why she created this world, but why was she broadcasting it out to, for Darcy to see? I guess because no one else figured it out. But
I never thought about that.
Yeah, it would have been an interesting thing to maybe get across. But I guess that's not picking on the quality of anything though. But that's the quality.
I think I remember Darcy talking about it, how it was more energy waves that she was computing into the radio waves. So she was picking up the energy fields that Wanda was giving off, because she is just energy, and it was coming into as picture and audio. So I don't know if it was intentional per se, but
maybe it was Wanda sort of trying to fight her own creation. I like to think of it that way.
Mm-hmm. And then also that was cool. I think Wanda almost always had red on in just about every world that she was in. She was wearing her traditional colors, so that was kind of cool too.
And going back to the end of the second episode, when it all goes color, and she had seen, reminded me so much of that Wizard of Oz moment, where it's gone from the sepia tones to just that vibrant Technicolor. Sorry, but and I also loved the pickup of the, Hey, she's pregnant. Hey, all of a sudden she's very pregnant. Hey, all of a sudden she's having the kid. Hey, all of a sudden the kids are growing. That was such a 60s and 70s TV. The kids go from, well, look at the original Full House. The kids went from infants to 3. Jesse and Becky's kids went from like infants to like 3 in a season.
Yeah.
So yeah. Vicky says, use of color very well done, show different powers and allude to who's doing what. Only CGI nitpick was when Agatha got hit by the car, it was too quick.
Can we give credit to the Wizard of Oz reference there when they showed the shoes under the car? I laughed so hard at that.
Love that.
And then true to form for all the different eras. Yeah. And then not so much. There was one pickup in the WandaVision for this section, but the music. Okay. It was all the very dramatic music. The Agnes All Along song, I think, stole the entire series.
Yeah.
And going back to the technical, they had to go back and shoot all those shots during the episodes that they happened.
Wow.
So, and I saw something where a lot of times they'd have to bring in like a special camera just for that shot, like an extra piece of equipment on the set to get that set up. But I mean, the music was the typical Marvel, great stuff, but the Agnes All Along song for me just stole it.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. And just how they mirrored even the intro after the Marvel intro, how every intro changed to be fit to that time. I also love the random commercials that just happened in the middle of the first few episodes. Cracked me up. But yeah, I loved, and I'm a music person. Music is kind of what draws me in. And I just thought it was brilliant. It was perfect how understated, but got big when it needed to, and just was a perfect addition to it.
Yeah. So I agree. I have to give a favorite episode for music, which is episode number 7, which is the episode where we hear Agatha All Along. But in addition to that, the opening scene or the opening credit song, which is kind of a play on Malcolm in the Middle, it was so well done. It matched Malcolm in the Middle without copying it exactly, and they did that with each episode. I thought it was brilliantly done. The next one, the 8th one was The Office. Was Wanda instead of The Office. But every episode, they just did an amazing job with that opening credit song, in addition to the background music and fight scenes and things like that. But those were, to me, the standouts. And episode 7 was the top of the list because of those 2 songs.
Yeah, definitely. So like previously mentioned, the Agatha All Along just kind of tops the cake. But one thing that we've been doing after every episode was watching someone break it down scene by scene. And they actually had mentioned that in the last episode, the opening credits or the first fight scene that they had in the background was the theme song for Doctor Strange. And so if you were able to pick up on that and notice that had happened, that was your kind of ode to the new movie that comes out, that we are going in that direction. So they put the music in the background. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and let's give credit. All those theme songs were written by the Lopezes, who are the same people that wrote the music for the Frozen movies, right? And they've done a few other things, but that's the couple that wrote, Let It Go and everything. So
also
they did a great
Ant-Man
job
stuff and did that kind of. He's done the Ant-Man movies, and he's done some older stuff. But yeah,
they're incredible.
To go from Frozen to WandaVision.
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah, and that's quite a challenge to write music for a 50s show and a 60s show and a 70s show, and because they're all very stylistically different, and to try to have to match, you want to copy the theme without copying the actual show.
Right.
It was so that people will recognize, so that people will get it, right? That you'll get that, hey, that's Malcolm in the Middle they're doing. Hey, this is Family Ties, So yeah, the music was great. The Marvel music is, to me, the orchestral music is always very good, but I sometimes wish there were more recognizable themes, but there's enough there that you could catch it. I heard a couple tweaks of the main Avengers themes in there too, every once in a while, and so they did a good job with that. The music, no complaints here.
And Gina says, loved all the music was from the era. Yeah, the Agatha All Along was the Munsters. It sounded a lot like the Munsters. So once we're done, go listen to, go pull up the Munsters theme. It's going to sound like the Agatha All Along theme. And the family ties. So, guys, last thoughts. Anything you guys notice that you love? Anything? To me, one thing we haven't touched on is how one of her sons' Halloween costume was Doctor Strange. Okay, so there's a tie-in. So you could say that's a tie-in because, especially with the end credit scene, the kids are going to have to play in to the Doctor Strange movie somehow.
Yeah, the fact that you heard the kids at the end when she's looking through the book, right? That's gonna and as I think Sam was saying, the anti-hero, what may lead her to more villainous acts is trying to get her kids back, right? Because I think you're not gonna. So now it's interesting to think about, though. Now, it used to be for Marvel, you had to watch the previous movies. Now you have to watch the previous movies and the TV shows.
The universe just got bigger, you guys. That's all it is.
But which universe?
That was my biggest thing when I was watching it. And again, from another one of our videos that we had watched, was that because Doctor Strange can go universe to universe, timeline to timeline, is Wanda going to go timeline to timeline to find her kids? Is she going to find the universe, find the timeline where she can live with, there's one in however many billion instances of a time, right? And so she's going to go to the one time where she gets to be with her kids, have everything that she wants, and keep her powers. Is that part of, is that where Doctor Strange comes in? As she's traveling through these different dimensions, she finds like, you can't do that. You're messing stuff up and go. So,
Kate, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you guys touched on all of the things that I love the most. The way that the theme song changed and the Easter eggs and the colors. Like, you all already said everything that to me made this flawless. At the end, I loved the ending. I remember when it ended, I kind of sat there and I said, I don't know where they're going to go with this. Because, after many movies, after a lot of Marvel movies, you're like, oh, this next movie is going to be so epic. This one, I think it's going to be great wherever they take it. But I sat there and was like, I truly don't know where this is going. And even throughout the final episode, I kept saying, I don't know how they're going to wrap this up. I don't know. I don't. This is not predictable to me. I don't know where this is going. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes from here.
Sam?
I love the hints for the future that they did give us. So to sort of piggyback on what Kate is saying, because we saw obviously, the Doctor Strange costume of her son, the other son in the Quicksilver costume. We'll kind of see where both of those characters, if they come back, where they go. Catherine Hahn's character as Agatha Harkness, she already, she foretold that she's coming back, because we know that if the Scarlet Witch needs her or needs to know something,
she's the knowledge.
She's the knowledge. So I think in the next movie we might see her. The other part is we know that the Scarlet Witch has more power than the Sorceress Supreme, right? The Sorceress Supreme from Doctor Strange. So there's, they're showing us some of these crossover moments, and I thought that was brilliantly done, and I can't wait to see more from that. It's very similar from what I recall from how they built up to Infinity Wars and Endgame, and how all of the stones we saw throughout all of the, earlier movies. So I love that they're setting up this next, I'll call it the second coming of MCU. Yeah. I'm calling it the second coming. Other people will say phase 4, phase 5, whatever. But to me, this is sort of the new phase. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pete? Any last thoughts?
I guess the one thing I would say is this was coming into Disney Plus. This was probably the series that I was least looking forward to, and it really pleasantly surprised me. So I'm really excited to see what they do with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I love Sam and Bucky as characters, so I'm very excited to see this series coming up. It feels like it's going to have a hard time topping WandaVision, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's going to be so totally different. To me, Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be, to me, I see it as being much more of an action type, almost like Jason Bourne type, like TV shows type.
Right, and that's I guess that's my concern is it going to just be action. standard kind of what we expect, as opposed to WandaVision, which kind of surprised us with what it did and how well it worked. And I'm not saying that'll be bad, but I'm just saying it's, maybe it's not going to stand up as well. And then, of course, my daughter's huge Loki fan, so she's really looking forward to that. So
Me too.
we want the same depth and nuance in Falcon Winter Soldier as we had in WandaVision.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I will say I haven't been a Marvel fan going in. From watching WandaVision, I will go watch Doctor Strange. I'm going to give Falcon and Winter Soldier a shot. It's helped convert me to, okay, maybe this isn't all, just superhero movies. And I know that sounds terrible, but superheroes have never been my thing, and this has let me, give it a shot. I'm going to give it a shot. So, and if pulling people in is what they were shooting for, it's worked. So
yeah, and Captain America: The Winter Soldier is probably my favorite Marvel movie, and that's the one that introduces Sam as Falcon, and I think it's not the one that introduces Bucky, but it introduces him as the Winter Soldier. So anyone out there that wants to do like some sort of catch up beyond just watching the Legends episode, that would be the movie to me to watch, and that's still probably my favorite Marvel movie. I mean, the Endgame was fantastic, but in terms of just a very, very tight movie, it's really good.
I will definitely give it a shot then, because I'll be honest, I haven't seen that one yet. So, okay.
That really good.
Next week, actually, no, Sunday, we are on Community Hall Live. So that will be Sunday at 9 Eastern. And since there is a series about coming up, we're going back into the vault. We are going to do the OG Mighty Ducks movie. Okay, Mighty Ducks 1992.
Gordon Bombay.
Break out the flying V, and here we go, guys. This is one. If your kids haven't seen it, I guarantee they will love it. Okay, pull your kids in. Bring the whole family. This is truly one of the family movies of Disney. So, other than that, guys. So that's Sunday, 9/8 Central. We will also be back here next week talking about what came out this week, and we'll, probably doing a lot of previews for Falcon and Winter Soldier. So with that, guys, we will say good night, and we will see you on Sunday. So good night, everybody.